Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the March 31st edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Adam Rue. Coming up, snags in the system meant to keep you safe.
It's time for a New Year's celebration, Persian style.
In sports, making the Final Four is big, but it's not the ultimate goal for our basketball teams.
Weathercaster Corey Davis will tell us when sunshine will return.
All that and a way to tell the world you bleed Tar Heel blue. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Carly Swain.
And I'm Jonathan O. Thank you for joining us, and sportscaster Marissa May is here a little bit early, and I think we know why.
That's right. The Tar Heels are in the Final Four for the 17th time in the school's history. Carolina will face Kansas in the Final Four. The Jayhawks advanced by beating the Cinderella story of the tournament, Davidson. The win matches Carolina against Kansas in a much-anticipated game between Roy Williams and his former school. The Tar Heels advanced by beating Washington State and then Louisville in the Elite Eight. The game against Kansas is Saturday night in San Antonio. With the win, the Heels will play UCLA or Memphis in the national championship. Now, the Heels haven't seen Final Four action since we won it all, so hopefully next week we will be partying like it's 2005.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Marissa. Well, the Heels aren't the only ones who are traveling the country. Former First Daughter Chelsea Clinton is also making the rounds. Nearly 500 people crammed into the Frank Porter Grand Student Union today to welcome Chelsea Clinton. She made stops at NC State and Peace College before heading to UNC. It's part of the Clinton campaign Our Voices, Our Future tour to reach out to young voters. Workers were also on call to help students register to vote and gain support for Hillary. Chelsea's #1 goal is to get her mom elected. One thing Chelsea spoke adamantly about was her mother's opinion on the armed forces.
Her work on the Armed Services Committee, which is distinctive to her as someone who's running, matters to me, because as much as I think that military force should always be a last resort.
Obama and Clinton are fighting for North Carolina's 115 delegates and 9 superdelegates. Our state's primary is May 6th.
UNC administrators are rolling out their new Alert Carolina campaign, the new emergency communication program. Carolina Week's Adam Rue joins us live from the newsroom. And Adam, there seem to be some hurdles to overcome with the highly touted program.
That's exactly right, Johnny. Some of the officials we talked to say some portions of the plan work great, while others still need work.
Either the sirens or the text.
University spokesman Mike McFarland calls Alert Carolina multi-layered, meaning there are many ways to get in touch with you in the event of an emergency.
Our most proactive approach is to send these messages to all the communication channels that we have available.
Those channels include emails, text messages, voicemails, and warning sirens. UNC Information Technology Director Brian Paste says the text messaging system is nearly flawless.
We can get them out in terms of, thousands to tens of thousands per minute. We can do the pretty high volume getting the messages out.
In fact, when he sent 900 text messages in connection with the murder of student body president Eve Carson, seen here in this 2007 file footage, Paste says the system worked like it was supposed to.
We had delivered all the messages within about a minute of sending them.
But there are problems with other means of communication, especially email, which McFarland says can be painstakingly slow.
At minimum, we would expect it to take at least 2 hours to send a campus email to everyone. And oftentimes, we know that it will take much longer than that.
There are also glitches with the voicemail messages delivered to all on-campus telephones. The message waiting light on many models doesn't come on until the phone rings again, meaning some people might not get an important message until much later.
I know that our ITS people are working with the vendor to see if that can be addressed, but we're certainly aware of that limitation.
Paste says the ultimate goal is to get everything working simultaneously.
You may get an email, a text message, hear the siren, and get a phone call. That's fine. In the situations that we're talking about, we want you to be as informed as possible.
Now we know that university administrators plan a major test of the entire emergency communication system at some point before the end of the semester.
Adam, how's the student response to the text message program been?
Well, Jonathan, those problems continue. In fact, Pace tells us that only a very tiny percentage of people have actually signed up for the program. They're really pushing students and staff to do so. We put directions about how to go about signing up on our website, carolinaweek.org.
Adam Rue, live in the newsroom, thank you.
The Bell Tower parking lot is now closed to make room for a new parking deck. The lot will be closed to all vehicles except those designated for construction, service, and emergency purposes. Pedestrians will also have some trouble getting through the barriers, especially on rainy days like today. Next Monday, workers will deactivate the traffic signal at the intersection of South Road and the older Bell Tower Drive. Students like Jeffrey Philogene will have to cross at the new signal 1 block to the east.
Like, I usually walk back to South Campus when I leave work, and I usually go back that way, and now I have to walk all the way around just to go back to South Campus. So it's an inconvenience. But I feel like it's a necessary inconvenience because without it, you know, we won't have as much parking, and we need more parking spaces. So.
At UNC, what some students call the University of Never-Ending Construction, delays and detours are just part of the student experience.
The controversial website Juicy Campus is under investigation for violating consumer fraud laws. We told you about the website where students can post uncensored gossip a few weeks ago. Since then, the website has sparked even more outrage, and the state of New Jersey is investigating student complaints about false statements on the website. The website founder, Matt Ivester, is a Duke grad and says the site isn't legally responsible for the material posted.
Thousands of American couples would like to have children, but can't. For them, adoption can be a wonderful thing, but Bethany Tuggle shows us how difficult the process can be.
Simon Bowman is able to do something he couldn't do in the Russian orphanage where he spent his first 6 years. Enjoy a meal with his mom and dad.
I found this kid in Russia that I felt like needed a mom.
Ellen and Brian Bowman already had a special needs child and decided to adopt Simon because they think every child should have a family.
If you really love children and you really want to change the world, why not take a child that doesn't have a mom and a dad and be their mom and dad?
Thousands of children are waiting to be adopted by loving families like the Bowmans. And as this family points out, you don't have to go international to find that little one to add to your family tree.
We have 2 foster children now. And so we're hoping that if parental rights are terminated, that we would be given the opportunity to adopt a set of twins.
The Bowmans decided to adopt domestically this time, but that doesn't mean it's been any easier.
I personally today believe it's easier to adopt foreignly.
It's very aggravating. It's taken us 2 years to be approved to be adopted through our state when it only took just a couple of months through a paid adoption agency.
Although it can be hard, Ellen says we can't give up on the children who need us the most.
You don't take a puppy back to the pound. I mean, the children are not dogs. I mean, they are human beings and they are lives that are very impressionable.
In Durham, I'm Bethany Tuggle, Carolina Week.
Because of the hassle, the Bowmans say this will probably be the last time adopting for them, but they'd still recommend it to other families. Well, most of us are very happy that it's finally spring.
And I would have to agree, but coming up, we'll tell you about how some people celebrate the change of the seasons.